We are going to start on page 282, and this video is going to continue until 288, and hopefully the cat is not as distracting as he can be. We'll see. Practice 3. Find someone to fight for. I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know. The only ones among you who will be really happy are those who will have sought and found how to serve. Albert Schweitzer. In 2006, I was broke. I had done what I've been trying to inspire you to do. I took action. I'd quit my job to be a writer and trainer. I told everyone about my dream. Plenty of people thought I was crazy, including, at times, me. I didn't know how to write or publish a book. No one knew me, and I had no supportive connections. Facebook, YouTube, and iTunes were still in their infancy. Getting your voice out there was hard. I just want to share with people what I learned from my car accident, that at the end of our lives, we will ask ourselves questions to evaluate whether we were happy with our lives. If you can figure out the questions you'll ask, then you can wake up each day and live intentionally so you'll be happy with the answers at the end. I learned that those questions for me were: did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? I stayed up late each night teaching myself to build websites and do online marketing because I wanted to reach a lot of people with that simple message. I was living in my girlfriend's apartment because I was so broke. I wrote on a fold-out desk borrowed from my mother's old sewing room. The apartment was so small that I used the bed as a crescenda where I stacked all my bills and notes and fears. Why did he stack them? Why didn't he just put them in the shredder? It was a tough time for me personally. The guy who would become the guy of motivation and high-performance habits had very little of either. I knew what I wanted to write, to train. I had that quote from Horace on my fridge: "In times of stress, be bold and valiant." And yet, many days passed while I did nothing to move forward on either desire. I remember days sitting in a cafe, watching other people type on computers and thinking, what a phony I am. Look at them work. I'm barely doing anything. I would get up and walk around the park, telling myself I need to get in more inspired settings, tell myself that a walk would clear my head and make me write better. I circled that park for weeks and months, and my head was as muddled as ever. My motivation hadn't risen to the level of my dreams. Nor had my habits. I was going to set all those alarms and mental triggers to wake up at precise hours each day and begin writing, after, of course, boiling the perfect cup of green tea, cooking the best omelet, activating the perfect state to write in. I followed the habits, sometimes, and they led to more dirty places than plates. Got her mind. Dirty plates than written pages. Not all good habits lead to impressive results, especially when a key ingredient is missing. And then a very simple moment changed everything. One night, I watched my girlfriend walk into the bedroom and try not to disturb me or the bills or the notes I'd strewn all over the bed, slipped quietly beneath the covers. I saw the love of my life sleeping under the weight of my bills. It broke my heart. Were they sending like 4-pound bills? Or was it like that many bills that it was like 20 pounds? It was a good workout regime for her. I gazed around the tiny apartment that I was contributing no money for because I had none. A space that had nothing but the love between us. An apartment where I sat useless, sad, unable to finish pages and chapters and the mission I dreamt of. And I thought, this is not the life I want for us. She deserves better. Yes, she does. At that moment, something inside me snapped or opened up or fell into place. Maybe my level of performance up to that point was okay for my preferences or needs in life, but I wasn't going to let my weak motivation or bad habits diminish the life of this woman who believed in me when everyone else thought I was crazy, the woman who brought me groceries, the woman who, too early in our relationship, admitted shyly, "I love you." You know when it's courage, because somehow there's an all-in decision. Often it doesn't come from you. It comes from wanting to serve another, to love another, to fight for another. Either I was going to become a successful writer and trainer, staying focused on helping people, whatever the obstacles, fighting for this woman until I ended up successful, or what? There was no other choice. From that moment, I decided to follow my dreams with more focus and intensity. I was not going to waste my days meandering about, lost in distractions. I decided to think bigger, to stop letting my small business make me small-minded. I decided to fight for my art and amplify my voice so I might make a greater difference. I decided not to worry about the critics and instead give my whole heart and effort to those who wanted positivity and progress in life. And I decided to marry that girl. Fighting for the life I wanted for us has kept me driven and contributing at the highest levels ever since. My story isn't all that unusual. While writing this chapter, I went back through my interviews with the highest level of performers, those with the highest average scores across the HPQ. I found the common theme was similar to the story I just shared. We will do more for others than for ourselves, and in doing something for others, we find our reason for courage and our cause for focus and excellency. Each of the highest performing people I interviewed told me about someone who inspired them to excel. They had all had a reason, and the reason was often a person. Not always a purpose or a group or people, most often just one person. Sometimes it was more than one. Their kids, their employees, their extended family, their community's needs, but more often than not, it was just one. I share this because our culture today often emphasizes finding your life's purpose. And it's always this great, monumental cause that is destined to change the world and benefit millions. A lot of people search, and some find that high purpose in life. And surely, that's a wonderful thing to have. The historical research on courage in general suggests that people do things for noble causes beyond themselves. For high performers, that noble cause usually happens to be just one person or a few people. And so, if you're a young person being told to find your purpose right now, don't feel that you have to look too far. Perhaps someone around you needs you to show up for them, and in doing that, you'll bring to light some of your own powers. And if you're an older adult, remember those around you, even as you seek that next mountain to climb. What I found in my research was something so obvious that it's beautiful. No matter what pulled courage from these high performers, it was something noble. You would admire their reason for doing it. There is human goodness there. Some answers from their interviews make this clear. She needed me. There was no other choice I could live with than to help her. I didn't want them to suffer. No one seemed to care, and I was there. I wanted to do it for him. He would have wanted that. Everyone else seemed to look the other way, so I stepped up. I want to leave a legacy, so I decided to get out of my own way and go for it. This action was the way to leave things better than I found them. Love had to win, so I went back in. Sometimes courage appears to be a spontaneous act. But what I found is that it's usually an expression or action built up from years of caring deeply about something or someone. So begin seeking things and people you care about. Care deeply about something now. Stand up for something now, and then you'll be more likely to find courage when it matters. Performance prompts. 1. A courageous action I will take this week because someone I love needs me to take it is. 2. Another courageous action I will take this week because a cause I believe in needs me to take it is. 3. Another courageous action I will take this week because my dream requires it of me is. Courage through complexity. Courage and perseverance have a magical talisman, before which difficulties disappear and obstacles vanish into thin air. John Quincy Adams. Just as the universe doesn't become less complex, life doesn't tend to get easier, but you get stronger. You learn to show up more, cope better, and be truer and more conscious amid the judgment and hardship. Soon the obstacles do begin to seem smaller, and the path seems more your own. So no matter what happens, trust in yourself and lean forward. The next level opens after your next courageous step. After more and more of those steps, you will look back with self-respect. Allow me to return to something I shared in the opening story of this chapter. The kinds of courageous acts that you are proud of at the end of your life are those in which you faced uncertainty and real risk. With real stakes, when doing something for a cause or person beyond yourself without any assurance of safety, reward, or success. I know this to be true because I faced it at the end of my life before twice. Can't keep a good man dead, I see. I know this because I've sat with people dying in hospice, and I know what they talk about, how they reminisce, what they wish they'd done, what mattered to them, where their self-respect and pride and legacy came from. And here's what I learned. For most people, courageous acts are indeed rare events, but we remember those acts, and they shape our sense of selves and our lives as much as the small stuff. And so I ask you to consider the questions below often, to ready your mind for even more courage. Only by conditioning ourselves now will we truly serve with grace and courage when called. What in my personal life have I avoided doing which might involve hardship but just might improve my family lives forever? What could I do at work that would require stepping out on a limb but would also truly change things for the better and help people? What decision could I make that would demonstrate a moral commitment to something higher than myself? How could I bring myself to face a situation that usually makes me nervous or anxious? What change could I make that scares me but will help someone I love? What good thing could I walk away from to advance in my life? What have I wanted to say to those close to me, and when and how will I courageously declare that truth? Who needs me, and who will I fight for the rest of this year? These questions might spur some brave thinking and action today. Ask them enough and practice the habits in this chapter, and you'll come to this truth. Deep down, away from all the noise, where love blankets your heart and your dreams, lie in wait. You are not afraid.